So, Laura, was your opinion that they should not persist after the initial payout, or
Yeah,
maybe
good
I'm
question. No wonder. I think specifically what I mean is that uh, I should not be allowed to vote after the first payout. The room can certainly persist, but if I go to that link, I should see the names and the percent payouts and not be able to vote and not be able to change anything. Does
oh, okay.
that clear that up?
Um,
It's not like if I go to
I
that
think
link, then it is like
yeah,
disappeared into the ether.
right. No, I think that possibly after like the first distribution, maybe there's an option for the party to reset the
Yeah.
the
Like
vote
So
reset the
wait,
votes.
percentages. That way, like
actually
it
let me ask,
persists.
how does it
Sorry,
work
sorry. Could
right
I finish
now?
my thought? I'm sorry. Could I
Oh,
finish my thought?
excuse me. I'm so sorry.
No,
Please.
it's okay. I'll just completely lose it if I don't finish. It's not to like um be aggressive. Sorry. If um if you reset the voting distribution, this pay party this can persist, and somebody can come back and return to the product and reuse it without having to go through the user flow again. And because we still have the options to add users to that, like if you could come back and add users to it, basically you could keep this voting process going and not have to recreate a pay party each time you return to the application. Um, and then basically, like, since you wouldn't want the previous votes to persist, yeah, like you would want the voting to be live, like what's happening now, what are people's opinions now on like the payouts.
So wait, let me make sure I understand how it works right now, which is at the moment I create this list of people, some number of them vote. Uh, at any moment, as the distributor, I can choose to pay out based on the existing distribution. But this list and this pay party persists. When a payout happens, are everyone's votes reset?
No.
Or do ever, so if for example, um, Brent and Samir and I are all in a pay party and Brent votes and Samir votes and I don't vote, and then we pay out based on whatever Brent and Samir voted, does do Brent and Samir's votes reset to zero? Or excuse me, reset to like whatever the, like, are they reset and Brent and Samir can vote again?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I don't think I thought about it in that way. I think I was just thinking about it like being like a voting like a session that um you can reset.
I'm seeing a lot of chatter in the chat, and I'm not quite following. Could someone just, who knows the answer? Could someone like
Maybe
concisely
maybe
answer
maybe
that
Hans
question?
could speak to this. Maybe I
So
have the wrong idea about it.
the question was whether the votes are reset, like whether they currently reset, or if
So
that
yeah,
if
so we had 60 votes this time, or I guess I don't know. Did it? It was
yeah.
like 5 votes per person or whatever. Let's say we all have 10. Brent, Samir, and I are in a pay party. Each of us has
Mhm.
10 votes. Brent uses 10 of his votes. Samir uses 7 of his votes. I haven't voted yet, and whoever the distributor is like, "Ooh, I like this distribution. Payout."
Yeah.
Does Brent now still have 0 votes,
Yes.
or
Currently,
or
that's
like,
how it's implemented.
okay? And can Brent
So
adjust his votes between people that he's already voted for?
no, no,
No.
not
So
currently.
Brent is like done.
Yeah, Brent's
But
effectively
because
done,
I
and so
haven't
is
voted yet,
so
I
even
could.
if you don't, even if you are Samir, for example, and you use only 7 votes of your 10, and you still have 3 remaining votes after you cast that ballot, you are effectively done. Uh, like you can't really return to that.
You
We could build that, sure.
you're essentially locked
It
in.
sounds to me like what might be a good idea here is admin controls. So the creator of, say, a party would have the ability to go and like reset a distribution or reset votes or add more candidates and so on. But that has like some pretty big implications for like, okay, like how do we
keep it fair?
Yeah,
so he
keep it
doesn't
fair,
reset
right? Like,
something. Yeah.
Right.
and
Sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, no.
So I think I was trying to understand, no wonder the sort of use case that you were describing, which is there's sort of this ongoing Pay.Party, and that as an admin, I can come back and I don't have to like recreate that list of people to have another party. But I think the trouble with that is that if I've sort of used my vote, if I've cast my votes and somebody else gets added who I otherwise would have wanted to vote for, I don't have the ability to like readjust. And so I think if that's how the product is working at the moment, I want to make sure that we're staying as like simple and lean as possible, and not like unnecessarily over complexifying before we've validated that we need to add something like admin controls or need to add something like ongoing parties. What I think I would recommend is that we do change the user feedback, that once a distribution has happened in a Pay.Party, change it so that there can only be one distribution at the moment per Pay.Party, and that closes all voting for everyone. And if it would be interesting if there were the ability to like export that list into a new Pay.Party and then add other people to it, so that if I did want to attend or if I did want to have the situation that you were talking about, no wonder that like it would be be one more step that I would have to do as an admin, but it would also mean that if I decide to do this every week, like everybody would be able to vote every time that the party was started, as opposed to like, if I vote the first week, like I'm SOL for saying what everybody what everybody should earn the following weeks. How does that sound to everybody? And by the way, I'm not saying create the ability to export that list. I'm just saying that might be an interim solution before we go whole hog.
I think one thing to highlight here is that this may be like I think one thing that a lot of people have been thinking about, whether speaking it out loud or not, is like where does the user flow paths, where are they the same for Tip.Party and Pay.Party? This might be a divergent point where, like, if you look at Tip.Party into the same context, it's distribute, right? If there's people in there, cool, you distribute to whoever's there. I hope they were in there when the Tip.Party was when someone in there was ready to distribute. But like maybe that flow doesn't work as well in this context, and we've just been kind of going down that path.
Yeah. It sounds to me like, I don't know, I mean, it wasn't really ever designed to be like really parties weren't really, at least in my mind, they weren't really meant to be reused. It was more of like, like you would every week you would create a new
word.
Yeah. That's how it was like, kind of like that's why it is the way it is. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a perfect explanation. Like yeah, these things could be built out, but it for sure would complicate things. Like if you were allowed to edit parties, like the implications of that are pretty big for like not only. I mean, it would be quite a change. Like, yeah.
So TLDR, I think we're all vehemently agreeing at this point.
Yeah.
So I think TLDR, like once a distribution happens, votes can't be changed, and users should have some feedback about the fact that the distribution has or like you should just see the distribution instead of seeing the ability to vote after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks for explaining. Because I was basically just positing that because it just seemed like it could be a possibility of the product. It's not like I'm like
Sure.
really fighting for that idea or anything. It was just me thinking from that perspective of expansion or like just a user being able to reuse the I could see how that would be really complicated.
We need your perspective for these things.
Yeah,
like we need outside perspectives. We need devil's advocates. We need to play all sides of things.
We need it, and we love it. Thank you so much.
I'm also
Yeah.
hearing
No
of
wonder.
the possibility of exploring a new product called perpetual.party. So
Yeah, no wonder. I
Hey.
see your idea of like the sessions coming into play. Like you could like reuse your session hash or something, and it'll bring up all your, and it resets the votes automatically for you and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess that my mind is just like stuck on radicals like drips, and then like
Right.
having that being
Yeah.
a democratic or like a voted distribution. I guess that's where my brain went to, just
Yeah.
because it's like it just seems like
So-
Yeah, it's different.
useful like that.
So there's some good stuff in here. How do we now take some of these thoughts and like turn them into, you know, assumptions or theories that we can test with users to see how much people are also thinking about this as well? That's where my head's at next.
I mean, earlier, I can't remember who, but we were talking about multi-sender.app and like how you get to put in custom amounts. Like it wouldn't be very hard to port over to Party or Pay.Party because those effectively do the same things and have like a third application that does that is like meant for, like, say you like a distribution of a Pay.Party and you want to use that for a couple of weeks, for example, and you're a distributor or whoever is doing the distributing. It would be nice to not have to manually input those and just go to like a multi-sender app that's like dedicated for that, but not having to pay any sort of fee, you know, because I'm pretty sure the current multi-sender charges a hefty fee. That's like a future product, and it shouldn't like take very long to port that over either, in theory. Anyway,
That's interesting. That sounds like if once we start getting some like good user exploration going, if we can see any hints that there's some need in here for that kind of user that would be interested in that kind of product, that sounds like a thing that would be awesome to fork and YOLO and then experiment from there.
if this is a quiz, I think the right answer is user interviews, but is that where your
Yep.
head was, Brent?
Yeah. Like I want to validate first the any kind of like needs with users before I want to even YOLO something, right? And I think it's interesting because no wonder, and y'all are bringing it up first, which is good. Like that's the first step. Is like we want to get everything out that we want to go test with users, and the next step is to validate it, right, with users, and then YOLO it.
Do we have any
Yeah,
doc
that sounds pretty
on user needs and some of that kind of user documentation stuff? This is one of my first calls here, so sorry. I apologize if that's known.
Good question. We are working on that. So we've been YOLOing, so to speak, you know, these products for a little while now. Recently, just like big picture context, recently we have brought in more product help. So what you're seeing in this group right here is actually a mix of product managers and developers and even other roles as well. There's some ops roles, there's some marketing roles even. So to answer your question, we're in the process of taking our products that we shot up real fast to test with and understand, and getting documentation into them in a meaningful way that has to do with our users, with studying our users, and that users are being studied in parallel with these products being built, and we're at alignment that the product is being built for the user that's being studied. So that is a big initiative of what we're working on right now.
Awesome. Maybe I'll DM you, because if you want any help with that, I'm happy to lend a hand.
But the goal is for us to have help with that, right? The goal is for us to have, you know, a collective that is full of people that are thinking about users in the product, people that are thinking about building it on the technical side, people that are thinking about other things as well as ops, and that no one's thinking only about that. We're all kind of thinking together on how we're doing product, how we're building, and so on. But it's going to take those kind of that diversity of roles for us to execute well.